So in this video, we're going to be doing a response to the optimistic outlook of Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Whatever.
Would you say?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll take you out with that. Do you know how precious life is? Most people don't.
I didn't know.
I think because look at the risks we take. Or let me jump out of an airplane, and maybe the chute will open. Oh, all right. That's a whole kind of person we got out there. Just look at YouTube videos. All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right. With the GoPro.
Red Bull.
Yeah, exactly. All right. There's been about 100 billion people who have ever lived.
Wow, really?
Yes.
And there's only 8 billion now.
No, about 100 billion if you add it up over all time.
Damn.
All right. So now, do you know how many people can exist? You take a look at the genes, find out how many combinations of genes can make an authentic human being. And you do that. You can do the math on this. And it is stupendously larger number than the 100 billion. It is. I give a number in here, but that's a low estimate.
That could have existed over time, or that could exist total?
Same difference.
Okay.
Okay. So I give a low end number of 1,000,000 trillion total possible numbers of plausible human beings that could exist. What it means is you are alive against stupendous odds. You are breathing air, observing sunsets, gazing into the night sky. Most people who could exist will never experience that.
Wow.
Yes, the people who never exist may never experience those things, but they're not being deprived of those things since deprivation only exists within existence. They're also not experiencing cancer, torture, disease, chronic pain, etc. So what are we lamenting here?
Yeah, and the other thing he mentioned earlier, that life is precious. It's precious only if you value life, and you could only really value life if it were on balance, at least from your own estimation anyway, more pleasurable than it were painful. Things are not intrinsically precious due to their scarcity. There are a great number of things that are scarce but are worthless, and there are all kinds of things that are common but extremely valuable. So it's kind of ridiculous to point out that, any particular combination of genes is precious because it's unlikely. I mean,
Yeah,
all of the sperm, in any ejaculation, almost all of those are wasted. I mean, those are, innumerable potential, genetic combinations. No one values those. And, it should be pretty obvious to anybody, which, the fact that people are amazed by these statements from Neil just shows that most people don't really think about this issue whatsoever. Because anyone who would think about this issue would be well aware of the fact that, obviously every organism is unique. Every organism is, extremely unlikely to exist, just based upon the fact that the vast majority of sperm that enter a vagina are wasted.
Yeah, his argument's just silly. So his first assumption is that it's intrinsically good, that it has intrinsically positive value, but we've already demonstrated how it doesn't. Because again, if it did, we'd be satisfied just with existing alone. We wouldn't want for anything. We'd be happy just by being alive, but we aren't. We always have to strive for whatever over and over again. We just chase insatiable desire. Right, and then again, of course, you touched on it, but I'll put it in a different way, I suppose, right? He acts like it's good just because it's rare as well, which really doesn't make any sense because there's plenty of things that are rare and they aren't good. There's plenty of you wouldn't say someone is lucky because they got a very rare disease. That's really the crux of what he's saying. Oh, it's just intrinsically good and it's rare. Just absurd.
Indeed.
In fact, as Richard Dawkins has said brilliantly, you get to die.
Mm.
And you say, I don't want to die. I'm dying. Most people who could exist will never even be born.
Okay, and
And you're going to complain about the life you have? Yes, not
I
all
think
lives are equally. I get that.
Yes.
And you could get the wrong hand dealt to you, either birth defects or your family, whatever it is.
This
Oh
is
my
your
gosh,
ride.
that is your, whatever it is, that's what you've got.
yeah, and then we just have a spit in the face to all the sufferers of the world. That's all this is.
Indeed. Yeah, I mean, I guess you're just supposed to be grateful to exist irrespective of, the circumstances. Maybe not even grateful. I guess maybe he's not implicating that. Maybe he's simply implicating that, you know, even if it's harsh, you should attempt to make the best of it. But, I mean, I would just flip that around on him and say, the best of it to accomplish what? I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing that you as an individual can accomplish. There's nothing that, any group of individuals can accomplish. There's nothing that a society can accomplish. There's nothing that our species can accomplish, or that, an entire planet of organisms can accomplish that will have a lasting impact upon the universe. So, you know, it's ultimately futile anyway. So,
Yeah. And then, well, he points out here that he's saying the same stuff Dawkins would say. And, well, Dawkins is very funny because in one of his books, The Garden of Eden, I mean, he admits life is horrific. He's talking about all these animals eating each other alive by the thousands daily, and that life has no purpose and all these things. I mean, he starts to sound like a Mindem. And then later on, he goes on to say, oh, yeah, life's a gift and we're the lucky ones because we get to die. I mean, I think Richard Dawkins knows life sucks and he just copes. Uh, Maybe Tyson actually thinks life is good, but I think Richard Dawkins actually thinks life sucks and tries to cope with it.
he might be.
Yeah.
Use it, develop it, do all you can within your power and the power of others who love you to maximize what you can be, what you can think, what you can learn, how you can love, all of this.
Your gift. It's the gift. Because most people
Yeah.
that could exist mathematically
will never exist.
It's just stupid to say life's a gift. It's an imposition. No one asked for it. Who's gonna call? How is the imposition of inevitable suffering and death a gift? Just
Indeed.
how? Very bad gift, even if it was a gift. That's a crappy gift.
Yeah. But yeah, even for people who lead extremely privileged lives, there's still no purpose to any of it. I mean, it's all pleasure chasing. There's nothing that can be accomplished, as I said earlier, there's nothing that could be accomplished by an individual or a society or a species or an entire biosphere. Um, what's the point in developing all these different abilities, Neil? Why should I reproduce or learn a skill or any of it?
Oh, you do it to fix problems, yet life is the source of problems.
Indeed. Yeah, I mean, we're supposed to develop these abilities to resolve problems. And as you just correctly stated, yeah, life is the arena for problems. I mean, if you really want to solve problems, I mean, you would carry out omnicide. And we'll get into why that's the only viable solution in a future video. Talk about, potential alternatives to omnicide. But we'll just take it for granted in this video. I mean, it just really is the only viable solution. Um, just take cancer, for instance. I mean, you could solve cancer hypothetically, there could be some extremely intelligent person who's born, or, a team of people might figure out how to cure cancer in 10 or 20 years. I mean, these things are possible, but there are innumerable problems. And totally aside from humanity, I mean, just the suffering in the animal world is, I mean, it far outweighs anything that we deal with. So, there's no perfect solution to, all the suffering in the world. Not all of it can be alleviated without, carrying out homicide. So, and as I said, I mean, carry it out for what? I mean, we're just existing for the sake of pleasure, really. As I pointed out in the previous video, I mean, if you're interested in maximizing pleasure, if you're going for the classical utilitarian route, all you would have to do is hook up a bunch of brains and vats to electrodes and stimulate them all day, every day. People would regard that as ridiculous. They would say that's completely pointless. Again, that's our stance on life. It is completely pointless. There's no, there's nothing being accomplished by maximizing the pleasure going on in human brains. It's not changing anything fundamental about the universe. It's not doing anything important. And it's not doing anything permanent either. I mean, these sensations are transient. And, our species is transient. Our planet is going to disappear. The universe will become uninhabitable. So, it's stupid to put these proposals out there. But, I mean, what can you expect from, you know, most people, really? Most people just, are blindly optimistic. So, it's not shocking to hear Neil say these things. Anyway, we'll continue.
Wow. So right there, you are
You are as special a living entity as there ever was.
amen.
So in the end of this chapter, and what I do as an epitaph, there's a quote from an educator, Horace Mann. You might have heard the name. He was 200 years ago, brilliant guy, head of universities. He gave a commencement speech, and he said, I beseech you to treasure up in your hearts these my parting words. Be ashamed to die until you have scored some victory for humanity.
Hmm.
And if you got one time on earth, there it is.
There it is.
Yeah.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, thank you so much for your time, man. It really
Yeah, most people aren't contributing anything significant to humanity. I mean, most people aren't scientists. They're not really anything of note. They were just born and died like everyone else. It's the fact.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how Neil can put that out there. Try to put that kind of, I guess just that kind of weight on people's shoulders. I mean, most people struggle just to exist. There are innumerable people all around the world who, barely scrape by every day. I mean, should they really feel ashamed for, barely scraping by? I mean, they're doing what they can do in most circumstances. They don't really have any opportunity to, score a victory for humanity, however you want to define that. Um, I mean, what are the real victory conditions? I guess the real victory conditions would be, you know, humans get to be born into this world, and then machines do all the labor, and people can spend as much time as they want doing whatever they want to do, whether it's painting or bicycling or hiking or reading, composing music, or even doing manual labor if that's what they want to do for fun. I mean, I guess that's kind of the idyllic world. I don't think that's realistically possible. But I guess that those would be kind of like the victory conditions for humanity. Then you could maybe argue that life would be worth living, but every new person that's born isn't contributing to that goal. There's only an extremely tiny minority, extremely tiny number of people who are born who do anything to advance human civilization technologically. The vast majority of people are really just scraping by, and I don't feel that they should be ashamed or that they should feel ashamed for, you know, doing what they can do. I mean, most people, like I said, they just don't have the opportunity to develop the skills to, do anything but pay their bills and maybe, you know, raise children and whatever else. So, and plenty of people just aren't even intelligent enough to develop those skills anyway. You know, I mean, it's sad but true. Yeah, I think I'll end this just by stating that Neil just hasn't. Uh, well, maybe he has. I don't know. You know, but it seems as though he hasn't really asked the fundamental questions. He hasn't, questioned the presuppositions that people take for granted. You know, he hasn't really asked, is life worth living? What is the point of life? You know, for what reason is our species being propagated? Why would we continue doing A, B, or C? And, it seems like he just takes it for granted that life is a good thing just because it's, a rarity in the universe in general. And your life as an individual is a good thing because it's unlikely given the fact that, any number of genetic combinations are possible and on, in spite of, the horror of the natural world, all the diseases, parasites, and on and on. And yeah, it just comes off as really shallow and ridiculous to me. I'm sure it does to you as well.
Yeah, certainly.
And yeah, I mean, I would just, I would love for Neil or, you know, someone else really of Neil's caliber, another intelligent, well-known person to respond to the ethicist position. There really hasn't been any engagement with the ethicist position from normal people. I mean, there are some, people who are really interested in the subject of philosophy who've, made arguments against it on the internet, but, there aren't really any normal, optimistic people who have responded to ethicalism. And I think that would be really interesting. And obviously, I feel it's extremely important as well.